Okay, so as I mentioned, my name is Raquel Ramirez and I work with dualenroll.com, and we are here today to do a really quick review of the student component for dualenroll.com and the high school component for dualenroll.com. I imagine you are maybe slightly familiar with it. I've used the system in the past term, but there have been some improvements made, some enhancements that are supposed to make this a little bit more seamless and quick and efficient, and we want to take a moment to kind of walk through that with you guys. So I'm going to do that. There are three pieces or interfaces to the system. There's the student's interface, which is what they do, their process, what they see. The high school's interface, which is exactly what you guys see, and the pieces or the steps that are assigned to the high school staff. And then there is the college interface, and that's what the Kenyon folks see on their end, and kind of their process and their steps. So we are only going to look at 2 out of the 3. We're going to look at the student's process and then the high school's process. It's going to be very, very, very informal, so if you have questions at any time, please interrupt me, and we will handle them as they come up. I will pause at certain spots for questions before I move on to a different interface or right at the end of the walkthrough too. A couple of things to just kind of clear the air with housekeeping items. So dualenroll.com is browser agnostic and it is cloud-based. So what that means is students, anybody who wants to access the system, the high school staff, the college staff, you can access it through any internet browser. So Google Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Internet Explorer, it's your call. And you can access it from any device that can access the internet. So basically, if you can get to the internet from a device through a browser, you can get to dualenroll.com. So some students use their smartphones. Obviously, a tablet would work, desktop would work, etc. The other thing to realize is that every single college that we work with has their own URL, their own website, right? So Kenyon's is kenyon.dualenroll.com. And so sometimes a student will forget that website and they will Google us, dualenroll.com, and they will wind up at our general website, which is just www.dualenroll.com, and they will try to get into the system that way, and they don't have much success, right? Because that is our general website. It is not the website that is linked to Kenyon. And so that's the other thing, is that all the users have to access it through the unique URL for that particular college, so kenyon.dualenroll.com. You'll see that on today's walkthrough, we actually are on just a slightly different URL. It's kenyon.stage.dualenroll.com. So this is our staging environment, and that just means that I can create fake students without actually enrolling them at Kenyon, right? So it's an exact copy of the live site. It just allows me to make up fake information without it actually going through. Sometimes our developers are on this platform as well, testing new features. So every once in a while, I will be on one of these calls and I will be walking through a system and I'll get this funny, error message. And usually what that means is that there's a developer in there at the same time that I am. That's not what production looks like. It's really because we're on our staging environment. But we should be fine today. There aren't any developers in there, at least none that I saw on the schedule. So we're going to go ahead and jump in with the 2 interfaces. We're going to start with the student interface because they are kind of the ones that get the ball rolling. So the student's going to come to this unique URL for Kenyon, kenyon.dualenroll.com, and they will either log in with their existing login and password, their username and password from last term. If they do not remember their username and password from last term, there is this little link that says, I forgot my username or password. And they can click that. We will reset their account and send that reset information to the email or the cell phone that they originally gave us when they created their account. You'll also notice there's a help desk button up here. This help desk button is available to everyone, students and high school staff and college staff and everybody. And we will look at kind of how to access the help desk and how to enter a help desk ticket at the end of the walkthrough. For the sake of today, we're going to pretend that this student is a brand new student. They have never registered for Kenyon classes through dualenroll.com before, so they're going to actually create an account. That's the first step. If they don't have a dualenroll.com account, they have to make one. So it says, please log in, need to log in, click here to create one. So I'm going to do that. The first screen is basically the basic information we need from the student to create a dualenroll.com account. It's pretty standard if the student creates an iTunes account or a Yahoo account, right? They have to provide some info. So they will first select their high school from a drop-down menu. Again, this is probably not the complete list of schools. This is just our stage environment, so we throw a few on there to make sure we've got something when we're doing these kinds of walkthrough. For the sake of today, I'm going to pretend that this student is an Edison High School student. The only high schools that show up in this list are the ones that Kenyon has told us to link to Kenyon, right? So we get this list of high schools directly from Kenyon. So I'm going to select my school. My test student is going to be Shane West. He can make his login name whatever he wants. It could be I am Spartacus 58, right? Whatever he would like his login name to be. Same thing with the password. He's going to give us first name, last name, a date of birth. Might take a minute for them to figure out the calendar. And he can either give us an email or a cell phone. He can also provide both. The student can give us both, but this is how we are going to communicate with that student. We send things like reminders, like FYI, the last day to register is tomorrow. Or we also send messages to confirm their enrollment. Congratulations, you have been successfully enrolled in chemistry at Kenyon College. So this is how we will communicate with the student. The other important piece right here is that if they are creating an account with us for the first time, we do require them to confirm that account. So this is where we're going to send that confirmation link. It'll either be sent to their email address that they give us, or it will be sent to their cell phone via text message. So for the sake of the walkthrough, I'm going to use email for Mr. Shane West because I can show you those emails on the screen. You could also use the cell phone, in which case he'd get a text message. You'll see that the red asterisks mean that this is a required field. Right now it's on cell phone, but if I click this little box that says I prefer not to give you my cell phone, the asterisk moves up here to the email section. So Shane has filled in the required information for an account. He's going to click that I am not a robot, and he's going to click register. He is registering for a dualenroll.com account. So the next screen that he sees is you have successfully signed up for an account, but you've got to check your email to confirm that account. Had he given us a cell phone, he would have gotten a text message, and there's a little link down here that says need to enter your text confirmation code, and he would type in his phone number that he gave us, and then that little code that we had just sent him via text message. But obviously we used email, so give me a second here to hop over to my inbox. Okay. So here is my Outlook inbox. You'll see there's an email right here that says, welcome Shane. You can confirm your account by using the link below. A couple of things, when students give us email address and they say, I'm not getting the emails, we recommend that they check their junk or their spam folder. You'll notice that this is an automatic email. It's coming from noreply@dualenroll.com. So sometimes the first time we'll send an email, their filters will grab it and it'll be in a junk or a spam folder. All they have to do is find it, click that this is not junk or spam, and then everything else will come into their inbox. The other thing to realize is if students are going to use like a high school email address, perhaps every student has a high school email address like shanewest@edison.org, make sure the IT department at your school knows that we're going to get dualenroll.com emails coming through, because you guys might have a firewall that prevents those from coming through. The domain is @dualenroll.com. So if your IT department just approves any emails from that domain to come through, then you guys should be fine. So Shane got the email. There wasn't a problem at all. He's going to go ahead and click on that little confirm to confirm his account. And then this is what Shane is going to see for his first time account creation. We call these the pre-registration screens. So you'll see that there are 4 of them. We're highlighting step 1, but there are 4 steps up here for Mr. Shane West. And these are the pieces of information that Kenyon needs to collect from the student before the student can pick classes. Okay. Now the other thing to realize is these pre-registration steps are only done once. So this is only done because Shane is making a brand new account. If Shane does this now and logs in tomorrow, he's not going to see these pre-registration screens. We've already captured that information. He's just going to go straight to the course list. If he logs in next year, same deal. He's going to go straight to the course list. So the pre-registration screens are only fired off one time, and that is when the student first creates their dualenroll.com account. So I'm going to fill these out as Shane. You'll see again the red asterisks are listed. We already populated anything he already gave us. So he gave us his name, he gave us his birth date, he gave us his email address, and so I just have to fill in the rest. So I'm going to make up some sample info. The nice thing about the asterisks is this way Kenyon gets complete applications, right? They're not going to get an application that is missing something. And then obviously it's legible, which is fantastic because I have spent way too much time trying to decode teenage handwriting. The rest of these don't appear to be marked as required, so I'm just going to go ahead and click next. The second pre-registration step is for the student to agree to the Kenyon's terms for participation in their classes. I'm not sure how thoroughly the students will go ahead and read through this. They might read it about as thoroughly as they read those iTunes terms and agreements. but the system will not let them move forward until they check this box, right? So if they try to, it's just going to say, nope, you have to agree before I can move forward. So they're going to check the little box, move forward. The next step is for them to give us some information about their parent. So I have to type in my parent's name, address, and phone number, email, so Kenyon can get into touch with the parents should they need to. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this in. All right, so I've given, as the student, I've given all my information for my parent or guardian. Click next. And then the last step is for the high school student to verify who their approval is. The person at the high school that is going to have to approve their course selection. It's usually their counselor. So there'll be a list, again, of the counselors at that high school. So we already know the student goes to Edison. They're only going to see the approvers at Edison, and they can choose the name from the drop-down list. This in no way restricts your view of students. So all it does is it tries to streamline which shows up in your default list. So let's pretend that Edison High School has two counselors that are working with the system, Raquel and Rob. So if the student chose Raquel, but Raquel is out sick and Rob needs to cover for her, the student is not going to show up on Rob's default list, but there is a link that says view all dual enrollment students, and that will let Rob see every single student at Edison High School regardless of which approver the kid chose. So it doesn't in any way restrict your ability to see students at your school. It just tries to route them correctly if you have more than one person who's working on approvals. So for the walkthrough, I'm going to select this generic, dual enrollment counselor and click finish. So again, those are the pre-registration steps. They only have to be filled out once, and they only have to be filled out that one time when the account is a brand new dualenroll.com account. The next piece that Shane, our test student, is brought to is what we call the course finder. So this is going to be a list of the courses that Shane is eligible to take. Again, we get this list from Kenyon, and we only show the classes that Kenyon College has said are eligible to that high school. So this is Edison High School, and if Edison High School can only see chemistry, art, and English, then Shane's list is going to be 3 classes long. If Edison can see 6 classes, then he'll see 6. So it is restricted based on what Kenyon has communicated to us about what classes should be open to what high school. So again, this is kind of our test site, our stage site. We threw some stuff in there. And so for Shane to pick a class, he's going to go ahead and click on these little hyperlinks. So let's pretend he's trying to register in this chemistry class. So this is a little different than last term. We are now doing course groupings. So we understand that Shane, if he's registering for Chem 121, he's really registering for this entire group of classes, right? He'll be taking it throughout the year, and it is a grouping of courses. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the link. It will give us some information about that course, and again, this is provided to us by Kenyon. So it shows Shane the courses that he's enrolling in. You'll see that it's a whopping 12 credits because he's actually enrolling in a group, right? All of them at once. It'll tell him that, like, maybe the description of what that group is. So it's Chemistry 1 and a lab, and then Chemistry 2 and a lab. And it's probably taken over the entire school year at his high school. So it'll also list some information. Again, we get it from Kenyon, the instructor, the section number, etc. And Shane just has to click on this register button to indicate that he wants to register for this class. There is a save course button. Clicking on that is exactly like what it sounds like, right? It is, you are saving the course. You are not registering. So what that means when you save a course is it just creates a list for the students to kind of go back to. And this is really helpful if the students have like a huge list of courses to choose from. They might save 5 of them, talk to their counselor, or talk to their parent about which 2 or 3 they want to take and then register. To register, they need to click the register button. Saving a course is not registering. I see I got a question. Yes, the class groups is a new feature. So I believe last term, the students had to register for Chem 121 and 123 and 124. So they had to constantly be adding classes. And so this year we have done course groupings. Again, Kenyon College lets us know what those groupings are. But this way the student only has to click on one, and he is actually adding all 4 of them to his enrollment. So we're going to pretend that Shane was paying attention and that he remembers to click register and not save courses. And I'm going to go ahead and click right here. And so when the student clicks on register, you will see he's brought to his status page, and it says you have successfully added chemistry. It shows him the course again, and there are the four sections that it includes. Tells him it's a fall 17 course, and then it kind of shows him the next steps, right? So it says, look, your high school has to upload a transcript. You have to provide the teacher recommendation email. Your high school has to approve your selection. Like, this is not done yet. You are not in the class. There are things that have to happen. And you'll see here his status in the middle says exactly that. Your registration is pending. It is not complete because we need the high school's permission and we need the teacher's recommendation, and the payment from your parent is still required. So the student at any time can log into their account. They can click on their status tab. You'll see there are 3 tabs up here, profile, courses, and status, and they can see exactly what is going on with their registration. You'll also see that the student has an abandon button. So the abandon button allows them to indicate that they would like to abandon a class. It doesn't let them abandon a class, right? We need to make sure that the college and the high school are okay with a student abandoning a class. But this will allow the student, if they click that button, we ask the student to type a little message like, why do you want to abandon this class? It's in progress right now. You're trying to register it. But this is if the student, changed their mind, picked the wrong class, etc. As I said, it will not be abandoned until the high school and the college, approve that request. But it does allow the student to request an abandon. And the abandon is only there while the class is in progress of being registered for. Like, once this class is complete, he is enrolled in the class, that becomes a drop. And I think Kenyon has a drop form. So the abandon button goes away. The abandon button is only there, while we're still working on that registration packet. It will disappear as soon as the student is enrolled, successfully enrolled. So if our test student, Shane, wanted to add another course, it is as easy as just clicking on the courses tab. So if I click on the courses tab, he gets right back to his list. He could add another one. So let's pretend he wants to add this English 103-104 combination. Clicks on it, and he would just click register a second time. You'll see that it's 8 credits because it is 2 classes that are taught over the school year, and it does say that in the description. Course grouping includes 2 courses taught over 2 terms. And so then all he'd do is click register, and it would add it directly to his status screen again, and he would see both of those classes listed. So he has the ability to add multiple courses by just going back to that screen. The profile tab for the student is where we stored all the information he gave us. So this was the address he gave us, this was the email he gave us, the date of birth, etc. The other thing that's available on his profile is if he clicks on this high school link, which is over here under profile options, this is where his graduation date is and where his counselor is, or his approver that he picked. So back to my earlier example, if Edison had approver Raquel and approver Rob, he could go in here and change, like, oops, I should be approver Rob, and he can pick the correct counselor, update his profile, and he will now be on Rob's default list, as opposed to having to click on the view all dual enrollment students link. So the profile is where we keep that information about the student. Courses is going to be the course listing. Status is the status of the registrations that he has already kind of pushed forward in the process. The last thing for the student to do for each of their courses is this blue hyperlink. So you'll see, like, they can't complete the high school step because that is not their step. That is assigned to the high school. But they can click on this step. This is the student's responsibility. So the student has to provide the teacher's email, the recommendation from the teacher that they're going to need for the registration process. So all the student does is click on that little blue hyperlink, and there should be a drop-down menu of teachers that are linked to that subject. So this is also an improvement. This is a new feature. So Shane chose a chemistry grouping of classes. The teachers that are going to show up here for him to select as his recommending teacher are only going to be in that subject area, right? The chemistry kind of area or science area. He's not going to see English teachers that can recommend him for chemistry. So the list is going to change dependent on the course subject. So I'm going to pretend that he's going to ask John Wall to recommend him, be the recommending teacher. And by selecting this, this tells our system to send Mr. Wall an email that says, could you please fill out this recommendation form for student Shane West? And I can show you what that looks like in just a second. So the drop-down menu list is going to change depending on the course. So if Shane added an English course, he's still going to see the, pick your teacher, your recommending teacher step. He's still going to have to click on it, but the names in the drop-down are going to be different. They would be teachers from the English kind of subjects that could do that recommendation. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm going to assume that that's a yes. Perfect. So that is really it for the student's piece, right? They have to get to the correct URL, kenyon.dualenroll.com. They either log in with their old username and password, or they create a brand new account. If they create a brand new account, they have to do those pre-registration screens. It's like a one-time deal, and then they will be able to choose their courses. And they just do that by kind of clicking on their courses tab, and they go back to status. If they want to add another course, they click on courses tab again. And the only other thing to realize is a student does have that step of picking their recommending teacher from a drop-down menu after they have added it. It'll be bright yellow. It'll be a blue hyperlink that they can click on. Are there any questions about any of that before we kind of switch screens and go see the high school component?
Yes, one question. What if the kid doesn't remember they created an account and goes to create a new account? Will it flag it they already have one?
So they are, okay, so accounts have to have a unique email address or a unique cell phone. So if the student tries to create a second account, but they use the same email address, let's pretend it was shanewest@yahoo.com, and he tries to make an account with shanewest@yahoo.com, our system will say, whoa, there is already an account with that email address. So no, we will not let you, make an account. But if the student gets crafty and they're like, okay, then I'm going to make my Gmail account. Yes, the system will let them make a brand new account with a new email address, right? A Gmail email address. It's the same for cell phones. If they use a cell phone and they try to use it again, the system will stop them and say, we already have an account linked to that cell phone. But if they use a different phone number, the system will not stop them. We encourage them to use that reset, my password if they have forgotten, and then they can always enter a help desk ticket, and I will show you how to do that so we can make sure the students are aware of that as well. We usually turn those tickets around in like a couple of hours, if not faster. I mean, technically, I think our policy is 24 hours or more because it does get a little crazy with lots of students registering, but we can usually turn them around pretty quickly and email the student their login and their password so that they're able to get in without making another account.
Okay.
Yep, good question. Any other questions before I move on to the high school piece? All right, I'm just going to jump to that then. Hang on one second. I'm going to log out as our test student. I am also going to really quick bounce back to my inbox because the system has sent a couple of emails out behind the scenes. So here was the first email that Shane got saying, please confirm your account. Then we sent him an email that says, woohoo, you have confirmed your account, welcome aboard. And then we sent an email to the parent that says, FYI, your son or daughter has started the registration process. Once the high school has, okayed this class, we are going to be contacting you for your permission and, if appropriate, payment information, credit card or e-check. So the parent is given kind of a heads up. Your kid has started this process off. We are not getting the permission from the parent until the high school has given their blessing. Because if you at the high school, deny the student enrolling in chemistry, then we don't even have to bother the parent, for permission or for payment. So it will not be sent until after that. And then Shane is also given, the test student is given a quick little note that says, you have begun the process of registering for this class. So those emails go out, or it would have been a text message had Shane given us a cell phone. And those go out kind of automatically as the registration progresses. All right, so I'm going to actually switch to I'm still on kenyonstage.dualenroll.com, so I'm still on our stage environment, and I'm going to log in as the test or the walkthrough high school. So this is the Edison High School counselor or approver. So they're going to log in. Don't say that password. And so the first thing that the counselor or the approver is going to see when they log in is they've got a few more tabs up here than the student does. You also have the help desk button. You're always going to start on your dashboard, and the dashboard is a snapshot of information. So this is test information. It looks really, really boring, but when you actually have live students in here registering, the information gets a little bit more interesting. So we will show you how many kids applied, meaning how many kids clicked the register button, like I want to take this class, 9 of them, but none of them have completed, meaning none of them are in the class just yet, right? We're still waiting on the parent to pay for it, or we're still waiting on the high school to, you know, approve it, etc. So you'll start to see data points, and that will show you semester after semester. So you'll start to see like a little line graph of trends. We also like kind of show you which classes are the biggest or the most popular. So 33% of your kids are trying to take English. 22% are taking a language like French or Spanish. So this information gets more interesting as time goes on. We are actually also adding some things and taking a few things away. We're modifying the dashboard a little bit because we've gotten feedback from our high schools and from our colleges about what would be better data to show here, kind of more useful data. So it might change a little bit here and there, but just keep an eye on the dashboard. You might actually have some data points right at your fingertips that would be useful. There's also this download completed registrations link, and this is a live report that will show you live data of who is complete. So not the kids that are in progress, not the kids that are waiting for parental permission, right? These are the kids that everything has been done. All of the permissions have been reached, the payment has been taken care of, they are done, they are enrolled, they are in the class. It'll say complete. And so this kind of gives you like a roster of which kids are finished. And if the kid's not on that report, then they are still in progress. Their registration is not done yet. But I will show you that towards the end of the high school walkthrough. So the high school counselor or approver is starting on the dashboard. They're going to click on students, the students tab here. And this will allow them to see the students that are in progress or waiting for their approval. So Shane will be on this list. You will see that there is a little toolbar right here. It allows you to search by a student's first name, last name, combination thereof. You can filter the list in different ways. You can search for a certain term. So if we were looking for fall 2017 only, you can also look back. So if you want to see what a student took maybe fall of last year, you can switch the term. You can look at all terms, which would allow you to see everything for a student, right? So if you typed in a student's name under all terms, you would see the classes they took last semester, this semester, etc. And you also have an active term, meaning just show me the kids that are registering in the active term right now, which right now would be fall 2017 for next year. I'm going to go ahead and try to find Shane. I'm going to type in his first name. If Shane was standing in my office or I was on the phone with Shane's mom or dad, I could type in his name and it will just pull up Shane's information. The other thing to realize is that he is not trying to register for this twice. I know it looks that way, but that is not true. It is trying to show you that there are 2 steps right now that are active for this particular class. The high school has to approve the enrollment and the high school has to provide our transcript. Now, after you do that, then the parent, parent email will fire. So there are more steps, but it kind of shows you them sequentially. So it's not a duplicate. It's showing you that there are 2 steps right now that Shane needs to complete. So if I wanted to complete this for Shane, I'm going to start with this high school approve enrollment. I'm going to go ahead and click on that step, and I will see just Shane's information. So I can say yes, no, I'm approving his choice. Decide later, we'll just keep it bright yellow and assigned to you, right? It'll keep it in your queue or your list. You do have to enter in his state ID, and you will only have to enter it in once. So it will roll over. So what I mean by that is if Shane picked chemistry and English, you are going to have to approve both of them. Like Shane will have a little line that says chemistry, then there'll be another line that says English. But once you type in the ID for Shane, it will populate in every single Shane file, right? So you won't have to type it in again. It will roll over to the other courses that he has or that he's trying to take. So you will have to approve each one, but the ID only has to be entered once. So this is how you could do this approval for Shane just one at a time, right? You could just approve a specific course. The same is true of the high school upload transcript test score. So if I click on that step, I can just do that for Shane. I believe Kenyon only requires that you upload a transcript, so you can enter this information. You do not have to. I think it's there, just to kind of collect data. We've already got the GPA from the student, so technically the only thing you have to do is click on this little add button, find the transcript file, somewhere on your computer. I think I have like a demo. There it is. So find the, transcript file for Shane. There it is. Upload it in a second. And so there's the file. If you made a mistake and that's the wrong one, you just click on change and you can upload a different file and then just click update profile, and that step is completed. And again, if I search for Shane now, you'll see that that transcript step, it's disappeared. It has already been satisfied. The same thing is true of that transcript step. So if Shane clicked on 2 classes, when you first look at Shane, you're going to see 2 upload transcript steps. If you complete one of them, the other one disappears because we already have the transcript. So at first it looks like, oh my gosh, I have a lot of work. But the minute you you add the transcript to one of his registrations, it satisfies the transcript step for all of his registrations for that particular term. The other thing that you can do, so we've been working on these one at a time, meaning I just wanted to work on Shane's, right? Shane was in my office or I was on the phone with Shane, etc. You can do these in a batch mode, which allows you to do them faster in a larger quantity. So the default list is to view by student. So it's going to give you an alphabetical list of students and their registrations, and anything that is bright yellow kind of floats up near the top, and it's an indication that it is yours, right? So this is the high school's responsibility. You'll see that this one is not bright yellow because it's not your responsibility. The teacher has to do the recommendation, right? So you can see it, that Alice is still waiting for that piece, but it's not your task, which is why it's not bright yellow. Same thing here. I can see that for Alice's Spanish class, she hasn't even picked a teacher. She has to do that. She's got to log in and pick the teacher who's going to do her recommendation. So you can always see what's going on with all of your students at any time. You just will see the bright yellow means that it's your responsibility, kind of you're up, right? You can even see that MJ Kenyon Test abandoned these classes, right? So you will always be able to see what's going on with your students. If you want to batch process, so do these in a chunk, you're just going to change this view to view by step. So I'm not going to view them one student at a time. So I'm going to click on view by step. It will reorder. All of the information is still there. But now I see these are the registrations that are waiting for my approval. This is the registration that is waiting for free lunch, free or reduced lunch. These are the registrations that are waiting for transcripts. And right now, it looks like Carrie needs 2. The minute you do one of them for Carrie, this one's going to disappear because we've already gotten the transcript. You can still see all of the steps that are not yours. They are still listed. They're just near the bottom, and they are not bright yellow. So if I wanted to do this in batch mode, I'm going to view by step. I'm going to click on the high school approved enrollment. My formatting is a little off because I'm in a weird browser, but you'll see you can just go right down the list. Yes, no, yes, no, no, yes, yes, no, right? All the way down, and do them all at once. The student's name is here, the class is here, their state ID will be here, and again, it will populate, so once you enter it for Carrie, it'll kind of populate in for the next line for Carrie, etc. So you can either do them one at a time, or you can do them in a batch mode. I'm going to go back to my little student view here, and it's the same for those other steps. Hang on, sorry, I was a little too fast. If I were to click on the free and reduced lunch one, and I had 3 kids waiting that, you'll get a list. So you can go through each one and make the correct selection. For batching transcripts and test scores, it's not going to be a list. It will just hand them to you one at a time. So you'll get Carrie's, you'll upload a transcript and hit complete, and then it'll send you the next one, Alice. Right, so it just kind of does them sequentially for you. So batch mode is available to kind of make that a little bit faster. Because for our walkthrough today, I'm just going to be working on Shane. I'm going to handle this guy one at a time. So I'm going to look for him. Here he is. I'm going to go ahead and say yes to his enrollment. I'm going to enter in an ID number. I'm going to hit complete. Oh. So there is a developer on here. That's exactly what happens when there's a developer on here. Hang on a sec, see if I can boot them out. Okay, I just kicked them out. So I think we're okay. So you won't get the error message. When you click on approve, it'll just go through fine, and that's exactly what happened after I booted the developer out here. And what it does is it fires the next 2 steps. So now that we have the high school's blessing, and the high school has said, yep, this is a good choice for Shane, then it fires off the indicate the free and reduced lunch costs, and then it fires off the teacher email, right? We're not even going to bother the teachers until the high school has approved the selection of that course. So again, the only yellow step for you guys is the free and reduced lunch. I can click on it. You'll see again a little table. This is for Shane. You pick which one of these he is. Again, if you were doing a batch, you would just see a huge table, Shane and Carrie and Nancy, and you would go through and indicate the selection. And again, once you pick it once for Shane, you are not going to have to tell me over and over again that he is a free lunch candidate, right? If you complete it one time, that will roll over to the rest of Shane's registration. So those are really the 3 pieces that the high school has. The high school has to approve the enrollment, upload a transcript, and then they have to indicate that free and reduced lunch. The transcript and the free and reduced lunch are just done once for all of the registrations that are in progress for this semester. The approval has to be done every time. You have to approve chemistry, you have to approve Spanish, you have to approve English, so each course on a course-by-course basis. And then the ID number for them, which is on the approval screen, that will roll over. So you type it in once and it will show up for the rest of that particular student's registration. You can always see all the information. I'm going to show you what the teacher recommendation looks like. So you can actually access it. It is a blue hyperlink that you can click on. It is just not assigned to you, but you can honestly see what that teacher would see. If you click on this little hyperlink, this is the form that we send the teacher. We send them an email, they click on the link, they don't actually have to log in, they don't have a username or a password. It just brings them directly to this page and it says, look, here's the student, they want to take this class, and I need you as the teacher, the former teacher, to answer these questions. Have you had the student before? What class? Were they successful? What kind of evidence do you have that shows that the student's going to be successful in college level courses, et cetera, et cetera. So the teacher just fills out this one little page, hits complete, and they are done. That is the teacher's recommendation piece. But if you had a teacher that was flustered and having a hard time and they just came into your office, you could do it for them. I mean, the teacher's standing right in front of you. You can click on this link. They can answer the questions and you can type in the answers for them. So you have the ability to do that, but it's not your task, which is why it is not yellow, right? It is assigned to the teacher to do, and they will get that in their email system. Just like the student, you have that little abandon button. So if, just kidding, Carrie's not really going to take chemistry, you can click on that. You can also see the student step. Again, it's not yellow, but you could click on it. So if this student is dragging their feet and they still haven't picked a teacher to do the recommendation, you could do it for them. I certainly don't want to make more work for you. I would say student, log in and get that handled, right? But technically, just like with the instructor piece, you have access to that step. It is not assigned to you, but you have access to it. You can also use these little expander things. So there's like a little plus sign here that will just show you more information about the class. It's a Kenyon class, that's the teacher. If you click on this little show, it kind of shows you a snapshot of what the student sees, right? That her registration is pending, and these are the things that are needed. So you kind of get a snapshot of what the student would see when they logged in to their status page. If you click on the student's name, so our buddy Shane West, if I click on his name, I get to his profile. So you can see the address and the email that Shane gave us. You could click on high school and see the approver that he selected. You could also change it. And if Shane has any documents attached to his name, here's that transcript that you uploaded already, right? So you can see all of that in the student's profile. And to get there, all you have to do is click on the student's name and you'll be able to access their profile. But technically, as I said, you have 3 steps. Upload the transcript, approve the course, and then provide us with the free and reduced lunch status. And the only thing that has to be done every single time is the approval of the course. The transcript and the free and reduced lunch status will disappear after you've done them once for that particular student in that term. The other thing to show you on here is that View All DE Students link. So if I was Approver Raquel and I logged in, I'm going to see the kids that chose Approver Raquel. But if I am covering for approver Rob, I can click on this little link and it will show me all of the students. It will show me my students and Rob's students, right? So you can always at any time see the students that attend that particular high school, whether or not you are their approver. Are there any questions about the high school steps?
No.
Okay. Couple other things to just show you really quick. Let me switch screens. So this is the email that the parent or the teacher got. So you'll see right here it says, as your teacher, Shane has provided your name as a reference for the class, and we need you to answer some questions about that particular student. So the teacher just clicks on that little link, and that's when they're brought to that one-page kind of questionnaire about that particular student. So it does just go directly to their inbox. They don't need an account or anything. So here's the email, here's the course, and the link, right? The other thing to realize, let me bounce back, is you have that one report available to you. So I'm going to go back to our dashboard, and I'm going to click on this download completed registrations. But before I do, I just want to let you know that that report is going to be blank. And this is why. It only shows you the kids that are complete. And if I look at this list, none of these are complete, right? These people are waiting for the high school to approve them. This one's waiting for the teacher. This one's abandoned. But if any of these were listed as complete, the student would get a text message or an email that says, congratulations, you have been enrolled, right? And this right here is going to say complete. And those are the students that will show up on that report. Those are the ones who are done deal. They're in the class. Everything's been taken care of for them. So give me a second. I'm just going to switch browsers because my Firefox one downloads the reports faster, which I like. Okay, so I've switched browsers. I'm still logged in as the approver for Edison. I'm going to go ahead and click on that little download completed registrations. It'll say, do you want me to download it? I say yes, but you'll see that this is blank, again, because we don't have any students that are complete right now. But if we did, you'll see their name, you'll see their email address, you'll see the course. So you can start to sort, right? Like sort by course name. You'll see all the chemistry is on top, all the English is on the bottom. It's an alphabetical list. And so this is kind of a roster of who is done and registered in chemistry. If they are not on this report, they are not in the class yet, right? We're still waiting for tasks to be completed. And this is live data. So if you run this report at 8 o'clock in the morning, you might have 10 kids that are complete and on the list. If you run it at 5 o'clock, you could have 30 because maybe 20 more of them, you know, got through all the steps throughout the course of the day. So it is live data that's available to you through the interface. Any questions about that? Okay, I don't hear any, which is good. So the last thing that I really quick want to show you, I know I have to be conscious of time here. I'm going to go ahead and log out as the counselor. Actually, I'm going to log out as myself. Hang on. I am on the help desk as a worker, right? I can answer those help desk tickets, and so I am signed in. Let me sign out so I can show you what it looks like. Okay, so if you, the counselor, are in here, or if the student is in here and they click on this little help desk button, it takes you to our help desk page. We do have like how-to articles. So if you say I'm a high school person, we will show you articles on here about, you know, how do you change the parent's email address. We've got little screenshots of how you would do that for the student if you needed to. But if that's not the case, if you don't want an article, you just need help with a student, there's a little submit a request button up here. I wish it was bigger. But if you click on this link, you're just going to give us your email address, a really quick what's the problem, like student is locked out of the account. You're going to give me a little description and give me as much information as you can, the student's name, your high school, it's a Kenyon College class, just so I can find the account really quickly. You can add files, like a screenshot if you wanted to, and then you're just going to go ahead and click submit, and then we get a help desk ticket at the dualenroll.com help desk center, and we answer those, like I said, within 24 hours. Typically, it's a lot faster right now just because we don't have a tremendous amount of schools that are registering at the moment. They kind of stagger their registrations. And if we can't resolve it in 24 hours, we will message you and say, we are working on it. We haven't forgotten about you. And if it's we have priority level. So let's pretend the problem is that like the system is down, nothing is working. which I have never seen in the year and a half that I've been here, but you know, it's the internet, sometimes it happens. That kind of a help desk ticket is a priority one. So we will ignore all the other tickets until we have fixed that one, and usually we turn those around in 4 hours or less, half a business day. But technically, like I said, it's a 24-hour, and we turn those around very, very quickly. And anybody can enter these. You can enter them at the high school. The kids can enter them. If the student logs in, they also have that help desk button. The college can log in. And so that help desk form is available to everybody who could use the system. I'm going to log in as Shane again, the student, really quick. Our test student. You'll see that he's back on his status screen, but you'll see that some things have been marked as complete, right? It says the high school permission is complete. That has been done. And the test scores, transcripts, I'm sorry, are complete. So it is kind of checking these things off as we go along, but it still shows Shane what's outstanding. We still need the teacher recommendation. You know, you still need the parent to provide payment. So your registration is still pending. So again, Shane, the student, can log in at any time and get live information regarding his particular registration and where it is in the process. And that's my spiel. That was the whole kit and caboodle. The high school steps, the student steps, the help desk, etc., the report that's available to you guys. Are there any questions about any of that?
No, it seems pretty good. Straightforward.
Wonderful. So I am going to make sure, I'm going to stop the recording